I'm
not a crook.
Impact on the counterterrorism community of the administration's leak of the means by which this side had a head start on Osama bin Laden's latest tape. Let's turn to MSNBC terrorism analyst Evan Coleman, the founder of globalterroralert.com. Evan, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with this breach here. Did somebody just give away the kind of advantage, whether it's huge or it's little, but the kind of advantage that the rest of the counterterrorism world spends, 18 hours a day trying to gain?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very unusual edge what they had gotten. Over the last approximate year, there have been a number of us that have managed to snake various loopholes into Al-Qaeda's distribution system, and we've been able to get advanced copies of Al-Qaeda videos before they're coming out. Now, it happens to different degrees, and some people use different loopholes. It happened that the loophole that the Site Institute had secured for itself was remarkably ingenious, and it was quite unusual, and I would be shocked to hear that anyone in the U.S. government has an equivalent on their own without the assistance of Site. Now, that being said, I want to caution people, we're not talking about, the next 9/11 happening tomorrow because of this intelligence leak. What we have is a more complicated situation, and that is that you have the U.S. government, which relies on private contractors like the Site Institute, like myself, to do this kind of work for them. They rely on us to provide this kind of information, and then they go ahead, and somebody in the U.S. government obviously burned the Site Institute. Now, what is the ultimate impact? Well, if the Site Institute finds a bin Laden video tomorrow ahead of the U.S. government, you better bet they're not going to turn to the U.S. government, or they're certainly not going to turn to the White House. And as far as what the White House did in this case, I got to tell you, I mean, I was getting requests for this video from U.S. law enforcement on that day. So apparently, whoever was at the White House or whoever was at the DNI who was supposed to be in charge of getting this video out was not doing a very good job, because it didn't get out to U.S. law enforcement immediately. So, I mean, this is just the reality of things, is that Fox News had this transcript and had this video, in some cases, before FBI agents did.
And the response, of course, as we suggested, it gets out. Guess what? Even terrorist organizations can figure out that their security or something has gone wrong in terms of this, and they shut down many of these prominent Islamic websites. Shut down on the afternoon of September 7th. Is that cause and effect? Did we just lose some sort of head start? And again, as you said, it's not life and death tomorrow, but this is all, as in the old spy days. This is all 365 days of work a year, and you just lost, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 days, whatever it means, right?
Yeah, these loopholes are incredibly difficult to secure. When they disappear, it really is, it's a sad thing to see them go. I don't know that permanent damage was done, but any damage really is regrettable, because these kind of opportunities are few and far between. It takes ingenuity to find these loopholes. It's not so easy. And so to squander them for any reason except life or death is something that should not be done. It's irrelevant whether the intelligence was collected by Site or by U.S. government agency. You don't squander intelligence needlessly. And here you really put their intelligence gathering methods, and I should say that the intelligence gathering methods of many private intelligence research institutions at risk by doing this, and thus consequently U.S. government intelligence. I mean, again, there's a reason why the Site Institute exists. There's a reason why people like me are out there. It's because the U.S. government has to hire people to do this. They can't do it on their own.
And this is, by the way, a mirror image of every argument they have ever made for classifying anything as it relates to Gitmo, as it relates to black sites, as it relates to web, as it relates to telecommunications. It's just a mirror image of this, which leads me to my final question. When something like this happens, and this is not the first time, do you sit there in your office and say, I'm not sure this administration wants to do that actual grinded out work of counterterrorism, it just wants to see nice headlines about what a great job it's doing?
Well, there does seem to be an unfortunate tendency that, when there are victories in the war on terrorism, or where there's a speech by Osama bin Laden, or something really, that generates fear, there seems to be a tendency to focus on that, rather than focusing on the kind of more nuanced, here is Al-Qaeda, here is what they're planning, here is what they've said. We don't want to resort to hysteria, and the last thing that we want to do is spread Al-Qaeda's message the way that they want us to, which is spreading a transcript to the American people. There was nothing in this bin Laden video that had any value that Americans needed to read it then and there. So to help distribute it to Americans, you're just helping Al-Qaeda in their mission.
Evan Coleman, MSNBC terrorism analyst and proprietor of his own great firm. Great thanks, Evan.
Thank you very much.